This is the king of all back exercises. I'm talking about the barbell deadlift. More specifically, the sumo barbell deadlift. Or at least that's the variation that I like to use. I might even be crazy enough to take it a step further and go that extra mile and call it the king of all exercises, not just that of the back kingdom. Now, why would I say the deadlift is the king of all exercises? Well, as usual, guys, I could put out a whole ass laundry list of reasons that I think the deadlift is the king of all exercises, but instead of boring you to death with an hour-long video of just laundry list bullet points, I would rather comprise my thoughts into the top 3 reasons why I believe the deadlift is the king of all exercises. Now, I know this is going to be a controversial one for real. I can already hear the TikTok nerds raging in the comments. But the risk to reward doesn't make sense. But the stimulus to fatigue ratio. It's too risky. It's too risky. It doesn't produce a good stimulus, therefore leading to suboptimal hypertrophy. Listen, Jonathan, Jeremiah, you sit the fuck down in the corner there. The fitness industry, just like a lot of other things in this world today, like to split up into different camps, different groups where they have different ideologies and different ways of thinking about training. One thing that I've learned throughout my fitness journey is that you need to take little bits and pieces from each and every group to finally come up with the actual truth. So though there may be a lot of truth to some of the claims I just made fun of, there is also a lot of truth to the top 3 points I'm about to make. Leading into my number 3 reason that the deadlift is the king of all exercises, and that would be that the deadlift is one of the most functional exercises on the planet. Think about how many times throughout your day-to-day life you bend over and pick something up. Now think about how many old people you know, or even middle-aged adults that you know, who bend over and often say, "Oh no, I threw out my back." Now what the fuck does this mean? Does anybody else wonder what the fuck this meant for the longest time? Did anybody else wonder this? Threw out your back? Where'd you throw it to? Right? Right, guys? Post-production, I'm wondering if I should even throw that joke in, to be honest with you. But seriously, what really happens when an adult throws out their back is simply that they have weakness in the movement pattern that is picking something up off the ground, leading to them straining their back or even micro-pulling a muscle. Now, if they had been training this movement pattern rather than being afraid of it due to fearful recommendations of somebody who is afraid of the risk to reward ratio, then perhaps we would see a lot less thrown out backs and end up with a lot more functionally movable people. Now, due to the fact that it is one of the most functional exercises on the planet, this actually leads me into my number 2 reason that the deadlift is the king of all exercises, and that reason being that it is one of the hardest exercises to perform correctly. Now, you could easily look at this and argue that that could be a downside, and that argument may be valid, but the argument I'm about to present right now is just as valid. I think that the fact that the deadlift is one of the hardest exercises to perform is actually a good thing, and that is simply because you can tell right away in a deadlift if you're performing it incorrectly. You're gonna be feeling aches and pains all up and down your body like you have never felt before, leaving it blatantly obvious that you're performing the exercise incorrectly. And so to perform this exercise correctly, it's gonna require an intense mind-muscle connection. Not just mind-muscle, but mind-body overall. It's gonna be one of the last exercises that you can perform correctly within your workout regimen. But if you can get it done properly, you'll be left with the mind-body connection like you have never felt before. You'll be able to connect with muscles and movement patterns that you have never even known your body was capable. Like a hip hinge rather than a back bend. Like a knee over toe rather than a roll up like a roly-poly. Like a pulling the bar into you rather than pulling the bar straight up. I think you get the idea. And now for the first and final reason that the deadlift is the absolute king of all exercises, and that is the fact that you cannot lift as heavy of a load on any other exercise that you can on the deadlift. Plain and simple, the deadlift is the only exercise in which you can place the most amount of load, aka the heaviest weights, compared to any other exercise in the gym. I think that reason in and of itself alone makes the deadlift the king of all exercises. So maybe if we left the fear mongering at the door, learned how to perform the deadlift correctly with proper form so that the risk of injury was actually not that high, high, slowly adding weight to the bar while inevitably increasing our testosterone due to the incredibly masculine anabolic load that you will be placing on your body because of the fact that the deadlift is just so absolutely glorious. Then maybe we could go back to the era where people weren't so scared to pick things up off of the ground. The era where men would slap each other, put white stuff all over their hands, scream and grunt together, slap each other on the backside, and get sweaty and excited over one man's absolute achievement. All right, I love you guys, and I will see you all in the next video. Let's go!